mornings in your household feel like a whirlwind of lost shoes, half-packed bags and last-minute panics, you're not alone. And I know because I have been there. ADHD mornings can be really stressful. They put a lot of pressure on our executive function, the skills that we struggle with. They can be overwhelming. There are transitions involved, all the things that those of us with ADHD really struggle with. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about how we can make our mornings just a little bit easier. And why am I talking about this? Well, my name's Jennifer. I'm a qualified neurodiversity consultant and workplace needs assessor. I have ADHD myself, parent to a neurodivergent child. So I have lived this, I've seen it, and I've seen how these tips can change our lives. So let's dive in with the first tip, which is to prep once, prep in advance. And I want to say up front, this is not a do it the night before tip, because those of us who are neurodivergent parents will probably be in a situation where by the evening we are depleted. The battery is drained, the energy is gone. Do it the night before. The whole, it will take 5 minutes if you just get prepped the night before, does not work most of the time. Might do occasionally it does for me, but most of the time, absolutely no way have I got that energy. So it's about getting things prepped in a way that don't require me to prep. Let me explain. This can be things like having a launch pad by the front door. So when you come home from school, everything that's been out of the house, so school bags, blazers, tie, coat, shoes, all gets dumped in your launch pad. Every child has their space. It's not complicated. We're not asking them to open cupboard doors. It's just there for them to dump their stuff, which means that when we come to leave the house the next day, the stuff that has been dumped there is still there, and we can then retrieve it for going out of the house the next day, or at least most of it we can. There's always occasional bits that somehow seem to walk. But anyway, most of it's there, most of it is ready for us. And on top of that, I put things like pee kits there. So once I've washed the pee kits, they don't go back in some drawer in their bedroom. They go by the front door where we're going to pack them into school bags. So that helps make sure that we've got things prepped and ready to go. Where I can, I will prep lunch things in advance, and I'll do that on bulk. I won't do every night, doing a little bit. If I can do a lunch, let's say a little pasta salad, and that's going to kind of go over 2 days, then I will do that. That's 2 lunches made in one go. So I do as much of that as I can, but I do it when I've got the energy. I do it when I can, rather than trying to put pressure on myself to sort of the night before be kind of swanning around, kind of making it all look perfect. So into tip 2 then, and this is about visual reminders. So the mornings put a lot of pressure on our working memory, particularly as a parent. I am trying to remember all the things I need to do, all the things my children need to do, what we each need for our day, whether I've got to salt or get something out the freezer for tea tonight. There's a whole load of extra things that are going on as well. Wherever possible, taking things out of our working memory, which has limited capacity, and it feels stressful when you're trying to hold all that in and you're like, if I let go of this, it's not going to happen. That'll be a disaster. You're trying to hold it all in. Stop doing that. Write it down. Make lists. And back to the prep once tip, write it down in a form that can be stuck on the wall and stay there. So your morning routine should be predictable. It should be pretty much the same most mornings, which means that most of it can be on one list. You're not having to recreate that list. You can just go back to it and look every day. And it can be things like lunches. Let's say we want a little bit of variety, but maybe 6 or 7 different lunches. Have a list. Have a list there. Oh, I'll pick that one today. Rather than trying to remember, okay, what lunches can I do? Make lists. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier. Now, my third tip is a bit controversial. And this is that sometimes we need less time, not more. Now, I've heard this from schools so much. Oh, they can't get here on time. They just need to set the alarm a bit earlier. Quite often with ADHD, that is not the case. And I know this from my own experience, even when I'm trying to get out and ready for work and the children are not here. The time I've got is the time I will fill. And that means, so for our children, if that means that they're getting out of bed and then say going and flopping on the sofa to watch some TV or sitting in front of a game or playing with some toys, we've now created an extra transition. So they've gone into the thing they enjoy doing, which we know ADHD brains are tempted towards the things they enjoy doing, and getting ready for school, let's face it, is not the most enjoyable task of the morning. There are other things far more exciting to do. So firstly, they've got into something exciting and we want them to do something that's important. So that's going to be a challenge. They've also moved to somewhere they're comfortable, and now we need to move them away from that to get them doing something they don't want to do. So that's creating another transition. And there's already a lot of transitions going on in the morning. So creating an extra one is not helpful. If we set the alarm closer to the time we need to leave, so there's just enough time to have that momentum, get the morning going, do the next thing, do the next thing, do the next thing, right, and out the door, that could, for some, work a whole lot better. I'm not saying this tip will work for everybody. In fact, I never say that with any of my tips because we are all different. But for some, that less time is better than more time in the morning. Which brings me on to my next tip, which is not just about predictable morning routines, which are useful. It's really helpful to have predictable routines. It takes a lot of strain off working memory if we know what we're doing. And as I said, we can then have lists and things that help us to remember what we're doing. But where we are giving instructions, keeping them simple and keeping them clear is really important. If you are giving your child multiple instructions and they're coming back having done one or none, then we've overloaded their working memory. We need to give one instruction at a time and we need to break things down. So go get ready for school is not a clear or simple instruction. There's a whole load of steps involved in go and get ready for school. So it needs to be broken down. Go and brush your teeth. Your teeth are brushed now. Okay, let's go and get dressed. Okay, we need to have breakfast now. Have your breakfast. It's about breaking it down and minimizing the choices. So you may have a child that wants choices over their breakfast. Can we minimize those choices? Can we have variety in a way that means there's not choices each day? Or can we just consistently have the same thing, which takes away all of the choice, all of that extra strain that comes with having to make that decision? Know your child best, know what one's going to work for them. But keep the steps simple and keep the instructions simple. And if giving those instructions step by step puts strain on you, I know it does for me, it strains my working memory because I've consciously got to be thinking, right, what are they doing now? What have they got next? As well, whilst I'm thinking, what am I doing now? What have I got next? So that's where visual reminders, having pictures of the things you need to do, lists of the things you need to do, can take away the pressure from us as parents. And that's really important. But it doesn't have to be pictures on the wall. Another one that's really useful is Alexas. And they have routines that you can set up into them, which means that they can give those prompts. So perhaps 10 minutes before you need to leave, it's the Alexa that says, hey, get your shoes on, which means that it's coming across with an even tone of voice as well. Because if you're a parent and you're a little bit stressed or frustrated, or maybe you're already thinking about the fact that you've got a thing going on at work today, or you've got this appointment that you've got to get to, and there's already that frustration, you're trying to hold a load of things in, that tone of voice is going to come across to your children when you're giving them those reminders. We're human after all. Like I know all the therapists will say, oh, don't do, like try and keep your voice calm. And yes, of course, try. But let's face it, we're human and we have our stresses and many of us have our own challenges with these things as well. So where we can externalize it, where we can outsource it as much as possible, whether that's outsourcing it to a poster on the wall, to the Alexa, or to some other device way of doing things, whatever it is, get your challenges, your working memory, the stress is outsourced so that you're taking that pressure off and you've got something that is reminding you and giving you those small step instructions that your brain really needs. And finally, make it positive. Like instead of going into your child who's not got out of bed and being sort of stressy at them of, oh, come on, oh, you're not getting out of bed, or like something negative, instead of doing that, why not sing them a little song like, wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Like that's the sort of thing I would do, like go into their bed. They'll quite quickly be like, Mum, stop singing. I can't believe I just sung on YouTube. Anyway, but it's these silly things like a silly little dance or a race. Like, can you get dressed before I can? Can you get your teeth done before the song finishes? These little challenges can be really helpful. And again, you'll know your child, you'll know the things that work for you and them. But just injecting that little bit of fun into the morning can be really helpful, really positive, and it keeps things positive and upbeat. when they're probably feeling a bit like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed, I don't want to go to school, especially on these cold mornings. Like anything that kind of keeps it more positive is really helpful. Because let's face it, mornings, especially getting our children out to school, is never going to be perfect. School is often not going to be somewhere that they are excited to be going for many of our children, and there's many challenges when they get there. I think that's one thing, and it's an extra bonus tip here. Executive function challenges are huge for our children with ADHD. Check out my video on the ADHD iceberg for more on the executive function challenges for our children. These challenges are huge, and school puts a lot of pressure on this. There's a lot of executive function challenges at school. So for me, it's partially about how do I remove as much of that executive function from them before school, because there's only a limited amount of energy they've got. I know for myself, there's a limited amount of energy that I've got. Once it's gone, it's gone. So if I can reduce the amount that they're having to put in the morning, I give them a better chance for a better day at school, which then has that cycle back round of making my mornings better because school's gone a bit better, and therefore they can be a little bit more positive about going to school. So that cycle can really help too. But we're not trying to get this Pinterest perfect. We're not trying to make the Instagrammable family, but what we are trying to do is just make our lives just a little bit easier. And if some of these tips make your life just that tiny bit easier in the morning, reduce just a little bit of your stress, that can make the world of difference to family life and how your days start. So tell me in the comments below, which of the tips from this video are you going to implement? Write it down, because apart from anything, if you write it down, it's going to make it easier for you to go away and implement. Don't try and do everything in one go. Just start with one thing and tell me in the comments. I do read them all and I'll try and reply it as well. In the meantime though, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, notification bell, so that you get more hints and tips every week. Check out that iceberg video that I mentioned for more details too, and I look forward to seeing you next week.